Mm-mm.
So, those of us that didn't get it, will we still be able to?
Yeah, you'll be able to access it
Okay.
once you leave and print it out.
Okay.
But it's yeah, it's just some it's basically the information we're gonna cover today. Like I said, it's a how to get started. It's a business plan in there. It's the application, the Maryland's application, the uniform disclosure statement, all the stuff we're gonna cover today. A menu, everything I have here, I had given to some, for everybody to bring it. I sent it out quite a few times, so we can get started. So you gonna sit down? I think whoever don't come, they just have to figure it out. Whoever's not here by now, they can figure it out. So I'm Alan Cheney, and this is my partner and mentor when it comes to assisted living, Angela. And basically how I got into this business, or how I got to this place of assisted living, I had started out my career in real estate. Like my first entrepreneurial pursuit was real estate. I was, back when it was like the wholesaling and the rehabbing and buying and holding and stuff was like kind of popular, like in about 2009. So I had a good grasp of like real estate, investing. So eventually I had ended up starting a home care service with my ex-wife, and we did very well. And I kind of eased out of the real estate business, the flipping stuff, because it had just got kind of hard to find deals. And it just seemed like we were spending a lot more money finding deals than what it was worth at that point for me in the business. So I transitioned into home care. And I've been doing home care. I still do home care for almost 10 years now. And I had eventually ran into the opportunity of assisted living. And with my real estate background, I was able to kind of put the two together. So assisted living is basically real estate and home care from my perspective. And it was just an easy marriage of the two businesses. But so how it came to, how I really got to understand it was from marketing for home care. I was getting a lot of leads that wanted, home care. We go into the people's homes. We'd send the caregivers into their homes, and we staff and manage them from our office. But with assisted living, they come to us. But so we were getting a lot of calls from families saying, okay, we don't want you guys to come there. We want to send my parents to you. But we didn't have a facility in the beginning. So I used to do a lot of referrals with different assisted livings. I just, send them the lead, and they'll pay me a referral fee if they close that lead that we sent them. But then I started seeing the numbers where it was like how much they were charging a month, because we get the referral fee. It's usually the first month's rent is what we charge for a referral fee, or what's the kind of like the industry standard when for that referral. So it was, $3,500, $4,500, $5,000 per month. So we're like, eventually it's like, okay, you know what I mean? The writing was on the wall. It's like, okay, we need to get a facility. So we got, we purchased the property, and then, now we're in this home care and assisted living. So that's pretty much how I got here. Just the market kind of just telling me what to do, and the opportunity presented itself, and we took advantage of it. So that's pretty much who I am and how I got here. Angie can tell you a little bit about her background and how she got here, and then we'll get into the material.
I don't have much to say. I'm a registered nurse, and I used to work in a hospital, nursing home. From the nursing home, I was director of nursing. I'm like, I can do assisted living. That was like in the 90s. So the family's like, we don't have anywhere to put this there. So that's how I get started doing assisted living. So right now we have about 6. We get ready to open the 7th one. We've been doing this for like 22 years. I've been a nurse for like 27. So from there, I started doing the teaching for the 80-hour class, and Alan saw my name on the website at Office of Hair Care for it, and he called me, and since then we have hooked up and
Yeah. So
working together.
so not only so she's been helping me obviously with the 80-hour course, but also just some of the nuances and the little things that you just run across as you're getting started. You know, the 80-hour course is just the state requirement, but then there's like other things that you have to get done. You know, as far as just like running the business, understanding the real estate and the staffing and all that. And that's I mean, you learn parts of that in the course, but it's not the whole thing. You need, you know, I felt like I needed more training and more help. So, and Angie's been able to help me along that throughout that process. So how we're going to run it today is we're going to cover some material. I'm going to stop for questions in between, and then cover a little more, stop for questions, and then we'll go like that. So basically, the first, I wish everybody would have had it printed. I sent it out quite a few times, but the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to get started, how to start assisted living. And trying to, you know, understanding the business and seeing if it's right for you. In Maryland, there's a requirement of 80-hour course and training, and then there's a whole list of standards and, you know, regulations that you have to follow, and they vary. So there's the state requirements, and then there's in specific counties they have their own specific requirements as well. Some counties do have more than others, and some counties aren't as lenient. So it kind of varies county by county here in Maryland. The most important thing for me with getting started was location. So, okay, you know, where am I going to get a property? I want to get a property first that I can afford, but I also want to be in a great community. The best. So the thing is to try to get a property in the best community that you can afford, because just like renting properties, and like I said, I was in the real estate market. You know, rents vary obviously based on where your location is. Real estate, they always say location, location, location. So if I'm in the inner city in Baltimore or something, I can't expect to get the same amount that I'm going to get in the county or Howard County or Montgomery County. So so what made sense for me was going to Anne Arundel. Anne Arundel County was a great start for me, because it wasn't the prices of Howard and Montgomery, but it was still some great communities at a fairly cheaper rate than the properties out there. Three bedrooms or more is like the where I feel like the best is the best place to start. 3 bedrooms or more. You want to make sure. I feel like if you don't have room for at least four residents, it's not worth it for me. Because once you get the staffing and the overhead, you know that you want to cover it. I feel like you can make a decent profit with 4 clients or more. But in certain counties, after 6 or 7 clients, or 6 or 8, 5 things change. So like from 1 to 4 in Anne Arundel, you have to have at least 1 bathroom for the 4 people. So if you have 5 people, you have to have 2 bathrooms. 5 or more, you have to have 2 bathrooms. Then it changes again when you get to another level. So I like the idea of the smaller places, because it gives people the feeling of, a home environment, more, less facility like. We have like regular couches, regular TV. It doesn't look like a nursing home. It just looks like a home, opposed to like some of the bigger facilities, and like nursing homes and stuff like that. It feels more comfortable. The families want to see they want to see that comfort, and the residents they enjoy it, opposed to that big environment, and they get more one-on-one care opposed to the bigger facility. So I like to keep it between. For me, my sweet spot is 4 bedrooms, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 4 or less. I mean, at least 4 residents. So depending on the bathrooms again, and with the state, the county requirements. It says what happens during. Then it says what happens during a typical day in assisted living. So what happens is you have a activity calendar. You have basically a routine for your staff to, engage the residents every day. The families they want to see that you're taking care of the family members, health and their day-to-day stuff like the ADLs, the adult daily living activities. But they also want to see that they're being engaged, like games and newspapers and their religious stuff coming in weekly or monthly as much as they can, getting out the house. So another thing that I look for when we're looking for properties is the availability of senior centers. So the property we have now in Arnold, a senior center is when I say senior center, adult daycare center is not even a mile away. So that was just like a big draw for me because we could take the residents here every day to have them getting out in the community and hanging out with some other seniors in the area. So that's another thing that you want to think about, the proximity to activities and stuff like that. And then Annapolis is right there, so we got like the water and stuff like that. And, it's real beautiful during when the weather's great to get them out into the community. But the staff, the main part of the day, you taking care of them, make sure they're getting their meds on time, but also keeping them active and engaged. So here it's saying like the growth potential and the opportunity that exists. So when I talk to a lot of my clients, coaching clients who's interested in getting into this business, they say, okay, what about the competition? What about all these other assisted livings in the community? All these big facilities opening up everywhere. It's a lot going on. And my thing is that's a clear sign that there's a market there for you. And the niche that we like, it's like the boutique style assisted livings is what we feel like, it's a waiting list for these type of facilities opposed to the facilities that are, again, like nursing home style. And it's just like low attention to each resident. They don't have the one-on-one care that you're going to get with a smaller place. And if you could provide that, if you could provide that one-on-one care versus them sitting in a room somewhere and they don't see the nurse or the caregiver for hours, families really see that. And sometimes they may start in those facilities and then they want to bring them out and put them in somewhere smaller. And I think Angie was mentioning to me that there was a situation where the lady was, she was missing her meals because at the bigger facility, you have to know what time the dinner is. So if you don't get to the cafeteria in time and you have dementia or you're just not moving as fast, you'll miss your meals. And at a smaller facility, you don't deal with that, obviously, because the table's right there and, hey, everybody, we about to eat, So so we still see a great opportunity in that. And because I get so much, so many leads that we can't service everybody. We don't have enough property, so it's always like, okay, get this property set up and then go into the next one, get to the next one, because it's just a huge opportunity and a lot of seniors coming into the marketplace. I didn't say these statistics a million times, it seems like, but they say it's 10,000 people turn 65 every day in America. And it's like 5,000 or 6,000 turn 85 every day in America. And this trend is supposed to go on for like the next 10 years. So not only there's not even enough facilities in existence to handle this flow, and there's not enough nurses, caregivers, and all this stuff. So when you think about the opportunity, it's almost like it's unlimited at this point. Obviously, 5-10 years from now, they'll figure it out. The market will adjust. But right now, it's just a great opportunity and a time to get in. And a lot of times I see people wondering, like, okay, once I get the property, where I'm going to find the clients? And it's like, they're everywhere. Don't you have parents or grandparents or friends with old seniors in church and stuff like that. There's like seniors everywhere, and you'll be surprised how many families, and I'm sure quite a few people in here are struggling with the situation with managing their older family members, their older loved ones, and also what they call in the squeeze generation, taking care of your kids. So you're taking care of your grandparents, and you got to take care of your parents, and you're taking care of your kids, and it's the families right now, they're stuck in the middle. So it's like the squeeze generation. They're getting squeezed by the older loved ones, and then the children.
And themselves.
Yeah, the kids got to take care of themselves. So, so it's just a huge opportunity. So that's why home care for me has been very lucrative because of this situation, and also, moving into assisted living is just as lucrative. So, the potential is there, the growth potential is there, and if you get a great property, if you get a great location, you'll do great. Like the median price range of where in my community in Anne Arundel County, like Severna Park, Arnold, is like $6,000 a bed a month per resident. So if you got 4 residents times $6,000 a month, and then it's like for me to staff four residents in home care, I might need 6 caregivers, 7 caregivers. But with assisted living, my staff cost goes way down because I only need 3 caregivers. You know what I mean? And then one or two of them, I was going to tell this to Angie, we're going to have 2 live-ins instead of 1 for this new facility. So with that live-in, those live-in caregivers, I don't have to pay them as much because obviously they're getting free room and board. So that helps me with staffing. Go ahead.
Very quick question.
Yeah.
When you mention like live-in, do they count like towards the bed count?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
So I have this particular property that I'm talking about, has 3 bedrooms. So four residents. 1 bedroom is for 2 people.
Okay.
And then there's a basement where none of the residents are going to live.
Okay.
But the basement is finished.
Okay.
And I can split it and create 2 rooms for the caregivers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I got 2 live-ins. So I was only going to put 1, and then it just dawned on me. I was like, wow, if I find 2. I mean, because I always had, so let me explain how I got to this understanding. I do home care, and I have a lot of live-in cases. So you say, who would live in somebody's house? It's a lot of people who do this for a living. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people who are not familiar with this business, they think like, who would do that? But it's many people who would rather live with a senior in their home helping them out than somewhere else. You know, they get rent free and then they save a lot. You believe it or not, they save a lot of money.
How much do you normally pay like the live-ins?
So depending on the agreement with the family for the home care, we have a rate, but we try to get the caregiver at least $150 a day. Yeah. But you can get that down by offering, like, once you got they getting free food, internet, you don't got to pay no rent and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff costs, so you're getting this all included. I don't have to pay you as much. Or you can pay me rent. So, you kind of go from there. You go ahead, one more question, and then I'm going to try to get to it. But then we'll stop for a quick second and take some questions. Go ahead.
For the living, do they, like their off time, when is their off time when you have a living? Because I know they can't work the 24 hours.
Mm-mm.
Even with the 2, you're going to let 1 be off for 12 and then 1 work 12?
So split 12s.
Okay.
Split 12s. So it wouldn't just be the 2 caregivers that live there. So what we're thinking with this new property is 2 live-ins and then like a part-time person during the day. So the part-time person, I just want them to focus on activities. So they'll come in there and just do the activities for the day. The caregivers who live there, they'll worry about like the care, the awake overnight and all that stuff, managing the house, bathing, cleaning, cooking, stuff like that. But I want a caregiver that's just great, who fits the, advertise for this specific type of caregiver who's going to do great with activities. And also like taking them out and stuff like that. So the caregiver does. So the live-ins do get some time during the day as well. And about the live-in case, about a live-in, legally they can only work 13 hours straight legally, but and they have to get 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of personal time. 8 hours is sleep and personal time, but they have to have 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So if you have a client that's like a wanderer or something, and they might get up during the night and stuff like that, that one of those caregivers has to still be able to go to sleep. And when I do home care, I get a lot of times where family members think that, and we try to explain to them up front, but they still want the caregiver just like to be 24 hours unlimited service. Like, it doesn't, even if she lived there, she still has to sleep. You know what I mean? She's still a human being. So you definitely have to understand that aspect as well. You had something? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, I'm gonna cover this skills and experience needed, the cost, some of the cost things, and then we'll take some more questions, and then there's some steps we can go over. So, what are some of the skills and experience that you will help you build a assisted living? Obviously, if you have real estate experience or business, or experience with getting real estate at a discount, that's a great advantage. Entrepreneurial experience, marketing and sales, all of these things are very important. A skill to have bookkeeping, because when you run an assisted living, you want to look at it as a business. Each house is its own business. I get coaching clients who do, so I teach people how to start home care services, and now we're doing the assisted living as well. But I get the people who doing the home care, they say, I just want to put this alongside with my home care business and kind of bring it together. I tell them, no, you want to brand each property as its own business, run it as its own business with its own books, with its own accountant and everything. So just understanding some of those things that come along with just basic business management and understanding like that. So these are some of the skills you want to have. Having a compassion and a passion for having compassion, and also a passion for caregiving. So like if you're a nurse or you work in the healthcare field and you've been dealing with people in these, situations, that's a great asset as well, getting started. I think families are very excited to see nurses, caregivers. I have a caregiver, an actual CNA, that has a facility now. And that's like a big deal, you know what I mean? Because if you think about caregivers, most caregivers only making $10, $11 an hour, and she figured it out, saved her money doing live-ins into where she could actually buy her own property. And now she has, 2 clients. She's actually in Glen Burnie. And she just started as a caregiver. So that's another, when I talk about skills and experience that you want to need. But you also, at the end of the day, it's a very lucrative business for sure. And it's a lot of money, coming into the business, a lot of investors coming in, but you have to want to care, and you want to have a high standard for that, and not just look at the dollars and cents, because it's going to eventually show, and the families are going to see it. And then the senior community is very small, county by county, city by city. So if they be like, don't go there, you probably won't get, if you get like a bad reputation, you got to go. You know what I mean? You got to change your whole name, everything. You know what I mean? Or go to another town. Because if if people feel like, okay, they just money hungry, they penny pitching, and you trying to like squeeze every little dime, and that's what the big facilities do. And because they have a large overhead, it's a corporate venture, opposed to like a small business person. You won't have all these great overhead in the beginning or ever, because you're not operating at that level. But you can still take advantage of the opportunity that exists in the market. But so that's just some of the skills that I feel like that are very important. Do you feel like there's any other skills that one should have or will be great with getting started with assisted living besides what I've said?
You have to love taking care of people. Just
Love.
taking care of people. You don't have to be a nurse. You don't have to be a caregiver. You can be a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
an accountant, real estate, but you have to care.
Yeah, you have to care. Yeah.
Because when I go to my facility right now, I don't care what I'm wearing, because if he was not there, I would not be able to get. I'm hugging them, I'm cleaning them. You know, so you just have to care. And when the caregiver see you doing that, you know when you leave, they're gonna do the same thing because they know, you care.
Yeah, you set a certain standard. Yeah. Some of the costs involved are obviously just the basic cost of a property in the beginning. Obviously, as more people use the facilities, the electric, the water, sewage if you got it, whatever, garbage, whatever you're paying for, this stuff goes up because more people are using it. But believe it or not, seniors don't. It's like a regular. If you got 4 seniors in there, and it's no different from having 2 kids in there as far as like the amount of usage of electricity and waste and they're just low maintenance as far as they're not kicking holes in the wall. They're not, you know what I mean? They're like, you won't even realize they're there because they just move and, they're just laid back. They're great. If you understand business, they're great tenants. As far as when it comes to your property, there's marketing costs, building your brand, building your business, identity in the community. There's licensing. Well, not in Maryland anymore. You don't even have to pay for the license anymore. That just changed in July, was it? June or July, Maryland. I think Hogan. Man, I mean, it's Hogan. He trying to get reelected, so he took all the stuff, all of the fees off. So I mean, it's kind of like the gift and the curse. I would rather there be a fee and it don't take a year for my approval. You know what I mean? So once he took that fee away, now it's all these new people entering just because it's free, even though it's only $100. But the home care is $1,000, and he took that away too. But it's okay, now he done opened up the floodgates for all these new people applying for licenses. You're gonna have to wait now because there's already a wait. So the wait in Maryland for assisted living is about 6 months or more. It depends, and there's ways of going about getting your license pushed forward. I mean, just calling them, getting on their nerves. Yeah, it's the whole Maryland. It's just the state of Maryland. Yeah, it's not state by state.
What we're talking about today is the whole of Maryland.
Yeah, it's everything we're covering today is for Maryland. But like I said earlier, there are specific differences in county by county, and then certain cities have their own things, and we'll cover that here shortly. Some of the other costs you're gonna think about. I mean, so insurance. You don't just want to have homeowners insurance. You want to have business and liability insurance for your, because this is a business you want to insure. And believe it or not, I was surprised Maryland don't even require that insurance. I don't see it anywhere on the application. They don't talk about it nowhere. But you better have insurance. And we have a company called Rice Insurance. They specifically focus on assisted living insurance, but then also the Solutions Group. They just now started. They didn't even do it the last time I was here. We did one in August. And the Solutions Group, it's another partner that I work with, and it's an insurance company. They offer it now too for small facilities. So facilities like what we're talking about today, they cover those as well. So it's called the Solutions Group. And so you're thinking about. Then there's also things like extra things like internet, nurse call buttons, security cameras, computers, and stuff like that. Bedding, medical equipment. And stuff like that. So you have to decide what you're going to offer included in your monthly fee, and you have to decide what's going to be extra. You may offer it, but they have to pay extra, or you might not offer it at all, and the family have to figure it out on their own. But in the uniform disclosure statement, we'll cover those things there. But So I just want to make sure I'm kind of make sure everybody understands. So you definitely want to have security cameras wherever you can. This is obviously for theft and stuff like that, but also it keeps your caregivers accountable. You know, if they feel like they're under the camera, you know, you act different when you know you're being watched. So I also we ran into a lot of this stuff with the home care families, you know, with cameras, seeing our caregivers on their phones. You know, like she's been on the phone like for 2 hours. You know, and I'm like, man, don't you? We have to tell them that there's a camera there. Like the family can't not tell you that there's. I think that's illegal. They have to tell you that they have.
Sometimes they don't tell you.
Yeah.
We see this all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes the family don't tell
Yeah, they won't tell you. But even if they do tell you, they still will, you know. But, you know, security is definitely important. So that's another cost. But that's pretty much it. And
your mortgage or rent?
Yeah, the mortgage or the rent, the cost of the property. If you don't own it outright, you got a mortgage or if you're leasing. And you could do both for assisted living. You could lease a property. A lot of people don't think that they think they have to own a property. You don't. The first facility that I was working on was with a landlord. We had kind of partnered. So so if there's any questions, I'm gonna go. So next is the steps, just kind of like some of the basic steps that you want to cover. But before that, we could take a couple questions. Yeah, she had a question.
What you were just talking about. So you said I could lease in a home, but what do I tell the owner? What am I telling them?
We'll tell them what you're gonna use it for.
Just tell them right in front.
Yeah.
There's no need of.
Because don't waste nobody's time. Yeah.
Because you might get started and.
Now I live in North Carolina. They're a little to the crack. So
I have a client in North Carolina, so I'm working with that.
Situations where if he owns a home and I can go on the side of him and tell him I'm gonna lease your home for 7 years. So I ran into situations where it's like we're in our neighborhoods where it's okay, but when I try to go to the other neighborhoods, they get a little I don't know about that. You can't do this in this type of subdivision. So I want to be in that subdivision. I want to be in all the subdivisions.
Okay,
so you. Go ahead.
So what am I telling the owner?
You're going to tell them exactly what you're going to use it for.
Okay.
Yes, those kind of problems will come up. Okay? You might even end up going to court, and it has happened to me. There, you just let them know what you're going to use it for.
Okay.
To make sure you're clear before you spend some money for something that is not going to. And when you see home that, what's it called again? Those homes, it's called Homeowner Association.
Oh yeah,
You
HOA.
need to be very, very,
Very careful.
Sure you let them know.
They're probably the ones that will give you the most.
Yeah. But they kind of.
But I would suggest.
lenient,
I see.
Because they don't want the property just sitting there, so they kind of get lenient with that now.
So what I would suggest and what I do with my coaching clients, actually, we have a couple students who came to this event in August who are working with my realtor now. The best thing to do is give the realtor your criteria. Let them do the legwork, figuring out who's going to accept the terms and understand the thing. Tell him your terms and let him go figure it out. That's his job. I'll give it to somebody else. I'm not going to be calling every house.
So you work with a realtor?
Yeah. I just let the realtor go find the owner who's open to it. Because they can just look on the MLS and, send out mad emails and, stuff like that because they have access to all the owners in your particular area. So you just tell them your criteria. We're looking to do this. This is the size house we need. We need these size bedrooms. We need, the bedrooms on the first floor, preferably. All the rooms on one floor, so like a ranch style or Cape Cod, I think it's called. Most of the rooms. So it's a ranch and a Cape Cod, or a split level, something. Most of them, but it's mostly ranch. Just to have most of the. But the home we have is not a ranch, but it still has all the rooms on the same floor.
Yeah.
So do you have a contract?
Absolutely, it's going to be a lease. Whether you just buying it regular or whether you just renting it yourself, it's a lease. Yeah, and you just. Again, the realtor could write up the lease for you as a business lease opposed to a residential. or just a personal, and you can, and if it's a property you're really excited about, you can offer him more than market rent, and you can offer him, lease option, more than market rent, a long lease term, Once you make the owner clear on what you're doing, they see it. They're like, okay, you putting seniors in here, because usually most landlords are dealing with, because my Section 8 or just regular families, but they're families. They got kids. So like kids will just mess your house up. Like my kids write on the wall like it's paper, with markers. So and the older they get, the marks turn to holes. You know what I mean? And then I mean it's just I don't know if it's just psychology. If they don't own it, they don't feel like they have to take care of it the same way, that they would if it was theirs and they was paying the mortgage every month. If they feel like, oh well, I'm leaving in a couple months anyway, they kind of treat it a little differently. So if you make a landlord understand like what you're doing, and that he's going to have a stable income for the next 5 to 7 years with tenants who like low impact tenants, that they're not, you won't even know they're there, basically. And we might only, and another thing, a great thing about, the level of students, the residents that we have is that it doesn't take a lot of construction to the property. You might have to add some rails here and there, but you don't have to tear down walls and put in medical, like huge hospital beds. Sprinkler system, that's a good point. So that varies by county. I avoid all counties that got sprinkler systems because the sprinkler system is just a huge thing to put into a property. And I think PG requires it now at one client. Baltimore County does too. I think so from one resident you have to have a sprinkler. Anne Arundel County, no sprinkler up until I think 8 or something like that. So as long as we under 8, I don't have to worry about a sprinkler or whatever the number is. But we're going to get to that point, so we'll know the exact amount of.
So basically, it's better to own your property, whether you're buying it. You don't have to really disclose anything to your lender. Like, hey, I'm doing assisted living. You
just buy your property. Yeah, you can do it.
And my other question is it better? We own a few duplexes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you call them duplexes. But
yeah, duplex. I know the duplexes.
So, like a couple of them we got rented out with tenants, but
Mm-hmm.
we're ready to kick the tenants out now.
And then put some seniors in there.
That's gonna pay more than the tenants gonna
Absolutely.
pay. So it don't matter if duplex. It don't, like you said. Do you have to specialize the house like a stair lift or?
If they're going up the stairs, if there's stairs, I know in one of her facilities that she has a stair lift. So if there's rooms upstairs and you have clients that can't get upstairs, you're gonna have to have a chair lift. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
As far as the licensing is concerned, when you said it was an extended process, could be 6 months. So when you apply for it, do you have to have an address as to where the facility is?
Absolutely.
So
they're licensing their licenses of property.
So you're saying I need to have this house prior to. So I'm sitting on this mortgage until I get this license.
Yep.
No guarantee on the time period.
Nope. Yeah. I mean, but you want to you can't not have a property. But you just want to make sure whatever renovations you're doing, big or small, you just better make sure they're done before you get that phone call, or whatever date, because they're going to call you and say they're coming with their the surveyor's coming, and they're going to do the inspection and schedule paper review, and at that point they're going to look at the property, and you got to have everything done. But there's not a lot to be done. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Like, I know certain people that require different needs. Like, doesn't matter. Like, if you have like a bathtub or like it's just a stand-up shower.
Mm-hmm. So it's like levels. It's 3 levels, and we'll cover that. We cover that at some point briefly here, but you learn more about that in the 80-hour training. But yeah, we'll cover that briefly. So the levels of care.
So when we say 6 months, so from the time you get your house, let's say you get your house today, it might take you about 6 months to do the fixing. If your county requires a sprinkler system, you're gonna put that sprinkler system because the county will come and check and see if you have that sprinkler system. So within that area till you get your license, it might take you 6 months.
So you're saying you make preparation during the time
Yeah.
that you're waiting for your license?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if I'm turning, okay, right now I'm working on a property right now, okay? Because see, you have to, there's some, before you turn in your application for the state, you need to meet the county requirement. Right now,
Fire.
very good. Now I'm working on the county requirement because when they clear me, they're going to give me something that I have done this, I've done that, and I need to submit that with my application to the state. And that might take a while. Just the one my son just sent one in, they kick it back, to the county because we didn't do A, B, C, and D. They didn't even come and check it, just looking at it, they said we didn't do it. So he has to do what they asked him, we send it back. We're still waiting right now. When they clear us, they're going to give us a check mark. So that, I need that to include on my application package to the state. I need fire inspection. They're going to come, check me out, give me a sprinkler. Give me, that I'm okay to start an assistant living. With that package, with the application that I'm going to send to the state. So within all that time, till they come, it might take you about 6 months. And that 6 months, yes, you pay mortgage or rent. Because if you don't have an address where the assistant living is going to be,
There's nothing to apply for.
nothing to apply.
So this is something, a great question. I did it, and I'm a couple people that I'm working with are planning on doing it. So the lady who was one of the people that was at our last event, she's working realtor. So what I advised her to do was go live there. So you're renting, so you're not, that's not your house. So you're about to buy a house. So once you buy this property, go set it up in assisted living, but live there while you're doing it. So you're not paying rent to somebody else and owning this house to set up for assisted. So you live there. This is what we did. We lived there first, turned into assisted living. So I just kicked myself out. Once we got residence, and then I go live somewhere else, and I'm gonna do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Or some people might move to the basement.
Yeah, or you can move to the basement, or you can live there. Because you can live there with the residents.
Yeah, you can live there.
So that's the way that we think about it. You know what I mean? So you don't have this second property that's just draining you.
Because it's going
What's the difference? Just live there.
Going back to the live-in care again.
Mm-hmm.
So with zonings, right? I know that there's a limit to how many people can live there, right? So if if the zoning say, hey, you can only have 8 people that lives there, would the caregivers count as one of the 8?
No.
The live-in, no, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I never ran across the zoning or heard anything about a limit of people that can live in your home.
Unrelated people.
Yeah, because I know in Howard County, with my zoning, it's R20.
Okay.
And you can have
you in Montgomery County?
Howard.
So you can have up to 8 unrelated elderlies that live there. So with your, the live-in caregivers, I was just wondering.
Would they count?
Would they count as?
No, because in a nursing home, let's take a nursing home right
yeah.
now, okay? Or let's take this place right now. This is set up for 100 people to stay here, but the workers are not counted.
I understand.
So it's not counted.
But she's saying to live because they live in.
But because they're
living.
No, but they're not counted because they're caregivers.
Yeah, they're the staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I see what you're saying.
You can register them as a staff. Yeah.
Like he said with the zoning, so if you rent a house or purchase, well, not even a purchase, but if you're renting from a landlord, do you still have to inquire and see if it needs to be zoned to do an assistant?
Yeah, absolutely. And each county has their requirements. Like Montgomery and Howard, they have specific requirements. And there's even some cities that have specific. So even in the county, you might even have something Howard, Columbia might have their own little thing that you have to apply extra. Yeah, So just because they did manage their city,
a good example is Bowie City.
Yeah, Bowie.
I have a facility in Bowie City. I have to meet the requirement in Bowie City.
I got you.
Then go to the county.
Mm-hmm.
Then go to the state. You have a question?
And each of it, go ahead. Yeah, this is the question time. So I'm glad. This is the question time.
So I know you were speaking about having a 3-bedroom and having 2 residents share a room. So what's the minimum size of the room for to have 2 residents?
Great question. 120
square feet. So it's 80 per person, and if it's
200. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not big at all. So you don't. It's not like It's not like a non-traditional size of a regular room. It's like the master bedroom. Most masters are at least 120, and that's small. So, but the thing is, the catch to that is, if it's 320, you can still only put 2 people in there. Right. It could be 520, you can still only put 2 people in there. So
the other thing is, there's competition out there. Don't make it too small.
Yeah, don't try to.
Competition out there. Okay, just think about that. Yeah. You have she have a question.
I want everybody to benefit. Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the size. Does the bathroom have to be a minimum or maximum size for the bathroom?
No. But where the problem will come for you when you start having residents with a wheelchair, if they cannot fit in there, so you need at least 36. If they cannot fit in there, that become a problem. Okay. They will not actually fail you for not having, but business-wise, if it's not 36, that become a problem. Okay. She have a question.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Go ahead, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? So you said that you're licensing the property. So every property you get, you have to apply for another license?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then,
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you need a bedroom for the living caregivers, or can they open basement?
Whatever they're going to accept. Like, I'm going to just put a splitter in the basement in this property.
Need a physical
you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
As far as the residents living upstairs, do they have to have an exit?
Exit? Yeah, it's a great question. They have to have. So every window in the room has to be. They got to be able to fit out of there.
So they can go out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's a fire, they want to have those emergency exits.
Then some counties are very funny about that. So you have to check with your county if they want an equate, to have another way down the stair from the outside.
I went to orientation, so that's where they told me that as far as the exit, they needed another stairway.
Like a back door or something?
Yeah, but they don't make houses like that, really.
I have a property in Waldorf right now. I have upstairs. Waldorf require me to put
a ladder.
Not a ladder.
I mean, like
I
stairs.
Have to build a stair.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It was not cheap. No, it was not cheap.
Like a back out.
That
like an emergency
years
stair?
ago they were not required, but now they require a lot of stuff. That was not cheap for me to put that.
I would imagine. The stairs.
The stairs all the way down
to the top of the floor. Yeah, that's the second floor.
Huh?
Yeah.
The zoning in your county would tell you that. Not the state. It's the county that would tell you that. Deal with that.
Yeah, the state doesn't require regulate that.
So when they change the parameters, the zoning and everything, and you're already established, you've already done what they've asked you to do.
You grandfather in.
How much time do they give you to make the changes when they make changes?
You grandfather in.
Or you grandfather in?
You grandfather in.
Okay.
You don't worry about the new change.
The old stuff. Yeah, the new stuff.
I have a facility right now. I don't have a sprinkler system, and it's licensed for 8. I don't have, but now you cannot. That facility was opened in 2000. I don't have that grandfather in. So you grandfather in. You have a question? You?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The stairs. Is it an actual stairs or a fire escape?
The ones that she built?
Yes.
Did you build a fire escape or a stairs?
I built a fire, I don't know because that's not my expertise, but it's just I can go down the stairs. From upstairs, I can walk all the way down.
It has a landing?
Yeah, it has a landing. Yeah, they came there many times working with the guy that was doing it. Oh no, this is not okay. This is see that's not.
Oh, the county kept making sure.
Yeah.
Before he built it, you want to make sure the county just approved it.
No, after he built it, they have to come and approve it.
Oh yeah.
Is it a window or a door to the stairs?
What happened? I don't even know what was it. But I can't even remember. That was about 5 years ago. I think it was a window that we have to find a way to get it. Yeah.
To convert a window to a door.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't cheap for me. Yeah, it wasn't cheap. It cost me a couple of thousand. I got 15,000 to do that. Yeah, it was not cheap. Yeah. You might get somebody cheaper for that.
Right.
It wasn't cheap.
So what do you find in the break-even point to be when you open these facilities? Maybe let's use some round numbers. Like, say you have 4 residents, 5,000, you said 20,000 a month. What can you expect as a net or something like that?
I mean, go ahead.
I'm going to be honest with you. It depends. If you're in where he is, yes, Montgomery County, Columbia. Who else?
North Carolina.
No, I don't know much about North Carolina. You might get it 5, but other counties, they don't have that kind of money. So breaking even is maybe when you have the 4th resident, you start breaking even. Unless if in Anne Arundel County or Columbia or Montgomery County, they have money over there. But they have money over there, but the houses are expensive too over there too. So you have to look at,
Is it personal? Is private pay? Is all of it private pay?
There's some that are private, and there's some that have private insurance, long-term insurance.
Yeah.
There's waivers. There's subsidy. So it all depends.
Now, when you deal with a lot of the subsidies and the insurance, do you bill those yourself, or the residents take care of all of it? So if there's like subsidies, if there's programs, do you bill, you as the provider, do you bill them?
Yeah, if it's a subsidy, it depends on county you are. I know in PG County, they, the subsidy, talking about it, they will only pay you $650 a month.
Okay.
You will send a bill at the end of the month, not at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, you will send them a bill, but you might say, okay, I'm charging $4,000. The family will pay you the difference.
Okay.
Okay, depending what you have in your resident agreement, that at the beginning of the month, I want my payment from the resident. I want my 4,000, 2,000, whatever you're charging. But the $650, that the subsidy, we're talking about the subsidy now. In PG County, I know it's $650. You will pay them at the end of the month.
Okay.
Okay, so you will get your money after the key.
And then another question: what's your experience been like with families paying on time, or with them making
billing?
payments?
Yeah.
It's different with tenants, right? Tenants, you have to let them stay. With this, it's if they don't pay.
It's a great question. Break even. I'm gonna try to get his question, and then I'm gonna kind of explain a little bit about the long-term care insurance. So you got the cost of the house, and the two major costs. The major cost is going to be the staffing. That's where your cost is going to be. So after the staffing, then the expenses of the home. The food, the electric, the mortgage, all that stuff. So it varies a little bit, county by county, whatever, situation by situation. But so like the property that we have, it's a $300,000 property. We're paying $1,700 a month mortgage. The staff is about $5,000, and we're charging $5 a bed, $45 at the least. So that's kind of like the numbers we dealing with. And then like electric and stuff, we got like on a budget billing, so the bills don't fluctuate. I think the BGE give you like a program where they allow it to fluctuate but they kind of see where you at, and then it averages out. So you kind of get your bills stable like that. Just so you know where everything is at every month. With that, then it's like Wi-Fi, basic cable, and then like basic utilities at the house, and then like supplies, cleaning supplies, and then it gets into like, okay, what are you gonna? So like One client was urinating, like running through sheets, and doing a lot. We had to do a lot of laundry, so that was the issue. So we had to kind of adjust their arrangement with their family. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. So, I personally, I want to be at 8K net. You know what I mean? That's the goal for me per property.
Yeah,
So
if you have like 8 residents, you can make more than that. Yeah, if you have, like I have a facility that have 8, yeah, you can make
The
more.
cost is about the same, right? Taking care of 4 or 5.
Yeah, after you pay your money, you can make more than that.
But can you make it if you got 4 level 3 patients? Because they're gonna pay you more.
Yeah, yeah.
and you always want to apply for level 3 anyway because people going to decline. So don't get a property and get a license for level 1. And then he mentioned something about long-term care insurance. So how that works is we have to take care notes every day. And this is what the long-term care insurance, like for instance, Mass Mutual is one that we deal with a lot. They want care notes every day and invoices. You know, they want a clear invoice with the date. You know, they want to see everything. So we have to send that weekly to Mass Mutual. And they reimburse the family, though. The family pays us. So we don't have to deal with them outside of. They don't send us money. We're not waiting for Mass Mutual to pay. We take our money. We get our deposits up front. So we want to stay at least a month ahead. So the family's going to pay. They pay a month in advance. So they can put down a deposit, you know, and then pay a month up front.
Are you counting on the county for transportation, or you got your own van, or?
That's a good question. There's a couple of different options. There's a I forgot what it's called. Access? They got like Metro Access, but it's called something. It's another name in Anne Arundel County. Mobility in Anne Arundel. So you could use them, or you could provide it, or you could provide the transportation. And this has to be in your agreement. And then you base your pay your charge on that. Like you fit that into your cost. You know the agreement when you would sign with the family. So, because they want to know, are you guys going to be taking them to the doctor, or are we responsible? If we're responsible, us at this facility, we need to make sure that's built into our contract and it's being,
Do we need another license for transportation?
If I'm using my car, I'm going to get insurance that covers the resident, but I don't use my car. I would take your family to doctor's appointment. We're going to take by Metro Access, Uber. It will not be my own car because I don't have insurance that cover somebody. I don't.
Yeah, not so. If you
cover me.
So you want to have if you're going to do transportation, like you said, you have a lot of county things. I know the what did you just call the one in mobility? I think it's like $10 a trip. It's very inexpensive. So you can schedule it and manage it, but the family can pay for it, and or you could do it and just charge them the difference, or you could use your own car for the facility. You could like have a business vehicle, so and you get it insured appropriately as a business vehicle.
I just had a question about talking about transportation. I'm from Virginia. And I was listening to what y'all saying about Maryland. I had a case manager who came to my house yesterday, and she offered to have the visiting doctor come. Is that something that y'all have in Maryland also that can be utilized?
Absolutely.
Because that saves a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Have somebody come to nurse practitioner.
But there's some family that their mom or dad has been going to this physician for 20 years.
Yeah, they don't want to change.
They prefer, until maybe when they can't walk anymore, they're like, oh, I'm 82 myself, I can't do it anymore. And they might switch, but a lot of them will switch to your facility.
That's probably some few thing to do anyway. You have people being seen by a doctor coming in just like they do at a regular facility.
We have that too. But if you have Kaiser, that's another story. Kaiser, you have to physically go to.
Yeah, all of their facilities. You have to go to their offices. There's no visiting doctors. But you can, yes, arrange visiting doctors. And that's definitely a value add, to let the, to add to your brand, your marketing and stuff like that, and your offer.
You don't have to pay. Medicare will take care of the doctor's bill. You don't have to pay extra for that.
Go ahead.
So you said you had somebody to come in for your activities. Do you have somebody to come in and cook too?
No, the live-ins do the cooking. They do the regular stuff, like the day-to-day stuff. They cook, clean, bathe, pass meds. They're med certified. So your caregivers, just a rule of thumb, you want to make sure they're CNAs and they got the med tech certification. So you always have a med tech, somebody that's on staff that can pass meds. Go ahead.
How do you structure the company, like, to protect your personal assets? Because I know it's like a huge liability taking care of these elderlies, and if something happened to them,
lawsuits. Yeah. I mean,
how do you protect yourself?
Insurance and legal entity.
So you would be an LLC?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. You're not gonna just sober. Definitely LLC. But then it's not just as simple as, and I always have to say this. It's just not as simple as going to the county website, getting an LLC. Now you covered, don't work like that. You have to have like certain things put in place that an accountant can advise you to do. Like I can tell you what it is, but if I start giving out accountant advice and I'm not an accountant, then you go do it and you're like, oh yeah, he told me to do that. You know what I mean? He's practicing accounting and he's not, you know what I mean? So I don't give out accountant advice, but you can form an LLC, definitely have insurance and be bonded, but make sure when you form your legal entity, you have an accountant form it for you and let them, they understand the liability that you're trying to be protected from. Obviously, your personal assets. So, because you will get sued. You do enough business. You do business long enough, you're going to get sued. It's just part of the.
That means you're doing good.
You're an entrepreneur. That's just part of the entrepreneur experience. Trust me. So, oh no, I've been sued.
As far as meds go, you have to work under a nurse, right? So, for you in your business, are you paying a nurse to watch over your houses and the meds and stuff?
Yeah, you have a delegating nurse. This she goes on the application. So you have to have.
How much do you pay her?
So it depends. $75 a visit or something like that. You know what I mean? But just whatever you guys negotiate. She might want more. She might take less.
How many
but like,
visits is it?
this is a 45-day required visit, right?
Yeah, after 45 days.
That's the minimum.
That's the minimum.
Because if you have an addiction today, that's the minimum. Look, that's a long. We can't talk about delegating us.
But you definitely want to. So I would at least no less than a month that you don't want your nurse to come past. You know what I mean? Every 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Just to do an overview. Just for your own security, and so just for your own, so you know everything that's going on from a medical standpoint. Just so because the caregivers won't see everything because they're not trained to. So you want to make sure that there's a nurse constantly coming in, and that's another thing that you put in your agreement that the families will be more comfortable with. If they say, "Oh, we're only sending a nurse every 45 days," or if something crazy happens, then they might, opposed to, we have a nurse coming every 21 days. Regardless, just to maintain. And if something changes.
You don't even want to put that in your agreement that the nurses are coming to. You don't even want to put that there. You don't want to put that.
Go ahead.
What if you're a nurse?
And you could, if you're a delegated nurse, you can manage your own property. Your own house. Yeah. You can put your name down as the delegated nurse and the owner.
So when you're hiring staff, what background check avenues do you use to prevent from hiring somebody that's a sex offender or somebody who has violent charges on their record?
Absolutely. You run a background check. We got different companies that you can use. IntelliCorp is one. IntelliCorp, they do great background checks at different levels. So, they got like the basic, then they got the more advanced, you just kind of figure out. Yeah.
They asking for fingerprints.
And Maryland actually wants to see a background check with your application for the owners and all the staff. It has to go with that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go with the application. They look at it as paper review. When they come out, the survey wants to see the background checks on all the staff members and the owner, and everybody who lived there.
So when do you like start staffing?
Once you get a resident, I mean, you don't have to have nobody there if nobody's there.
Yeah, because you mentioned like when a surveyor comes, they want to see like the staff.
Yeah, you can have them. So like your nurse, they don't want to see the CNAs and stuff like that, but they want to see the nurse, the delegate nurse, an alternate nurse, an assisted living manager. Do they want an alternate nurse? But I know they want an alternate assisted living manager and a actual assisted living manager, like a full-time manager, and then a alternate, and then a delegate nurse.
And what type of experience do you need to become an assistant living manager? Do you need?
You just need that 80-hour course. Anybody can take it.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you don't need like medical experience.
Before you take it, no.
You have a question?
Yeah, it's just you could just take it and then you have the man. It's just an 80-hour training. Anybody can
So
take.
You don't need like a 2 year. That's only.
No. That's the delegate. That's the nurse.
Okay.
Has to have a RN. Every state has different requirements. Some states don't even have the training. I mean, some Ohio, Mississippi.
But I've known people that take it 80 hours, like in Virginia, and they take it in. No,
they accept it.
And they accept it in another state.
Yeah. Okay. So you just have to see where they would accept it.
As an RN, you can endorse your license.
Go ahead.
My question is, like, you know when you do the background check, in Delaware, it costs $65 for the background check. Are you, as the owner, paying for all these people? Because some people can apply and they don't work for you.
It's up to
you.
It's up to you. Even in home care, we do that. So you can imagine how many people apply for jobs. We just not paying for everybody's background check. You know what I mean? Just because you applied, I'm not going to just run your background. Yeah. So like you have to, like, well, we have like steps, you know, before we get to the point where we even talking about your background. Like the initial interview, first how we do it at the home care, and this is how we find our caregivers for the houses. We do a group interview because we get a lot of caregivers, applicants, and then we, based on that group interview, who showed up, who we like and who we didn't like, can them, and then the other people that we like, we send them, we invite them back, and then we do a one-on-one interview. After that one-on-one interview, if we're excited about them, we'll run a background check.
You'll pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, with the 80-hour certification, if you co-own a facility with somebody, do you pay just for one of the certifications, or two people gotta get certified to run the house?
So ownership of the business, like a partner, and somebody's operating. You know, whoever's operating, they need to have their license. But if you're just an owner, you just put the money up, or you just a partner, you don't need it because you're not actually operating. But whoever's going to be running that business, they want you to have your 80-hour training
for each one,
for each property. Yeah. She wrong? Because the application, I feel like this. Everybody who's going to be involved with the business should have that 80-hour training. Everybody's going to be involved.
Well, you need to know.
So you can know what you're doing. You know, so you know what's going on. If you're going to be a part of the operations. You know what I mean? So, and when you say partnership, it's kind of hard to understand like their position. It's just not a general. That's more like a general statement, opposed to like you telling me exactly what they're going to be doing or their involvement. If they're just putting up money, that could be a partner. And they never, they're just, you know what I mean?
To answer your question, so if you have property A right here, okay, they want to see a manager. Who is the manager here? Okay, you have another property. Who is the manager here? You cannot say the manager here is the manager there, because when they knock at the door here, who is the manager here? You cannot run and get this one here, and bring her here and say this is the manager here. So each house needs to have a manager.
Yeah.
But what you can do to to reduce costs is you can have one to be the alternate, and that person can run between houses.
So one alternate and one main.
Yeah, one can be, the alternate can run between 2 houses or 3 houses, but at least one on each house to be manager.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
But see, like in North Carolina, as an owner, I have to be an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
So in the class is 120 hours. But
Yeah.
I can have 5 houses that I'm administrator for.
So that's
I
good.
own those 5 houses.
Yeah.
Then what happens is I hire a manager to be at all. Each one of my houses have to have a manager. Like she said, when the doctor come in, they going right to the manager. That's the manager of that house.
Facility, yeah.
Right. But that manager can't work over here.
Mm-hmm.
She could be an officer.
But you're the
like
administrator.
This lady call out sick, then she can run over there, and then I would have to come and manage that house. But because what happens in North Carolina, the state pops up on you.
Even here, the state.
So the state, when the state ring that doorbell, it better be somebody in charge, right? And they better know what's going on, why she's sitting on the floor, why he's still in the bathroom, stuff like that. But I can be because I own the 5 houses, I could be an administrator for. Like my name, my license will be on the wall at all the houses. But then I have a manager
at each property. Yeah.
So you can't just have a med-tech there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
A med-tech can also be
your manager
They
could be
can
your
also be a
CNA, your
man-
med-tech, your all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you have to have a med tech there at all
At all
times too.
times, right. Yeah. Even if you're giving out Tylenol.
So your caregivers, just make sure your caregivers, most CNAs got med tech.
How simple is it to shadow programs of, because this will be my initial experience at starting the house. And so how simple is it for me to go to a program that's already established in assisted living and ask them, can I shadow your program? Can I work for you or whatever? Or
I mean, it's a matter of who you talk to and who's going to allow you to access. You know, it's lucrative. It's lucrative. So people can be like, if I'm gonna show you how to make $1 million, I'm like, you just not gonna just walk up in here. I'm gonna show you. Know what I mean? You feel me? Yeah. So I mean, but it's a great investment anyway. You know what I mean? You see the opportunity, so it's not like it's a waste once you learn it. You know what I mean? That's what we here for. You know what I mean? So she give you the 80-hour training. You know what I mean? She does that.
But you know, there's other vendors too that do the.
Yeah, it's other people, but
go to the website.
yeah.
Take whoever you are.
But just So, are there any more questions at this point? Go ahead, man.
Just clarification. Were you guys talking about like reciprocity? If you take the Maryland class, other states might accept it.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying. Yep.
Because I've seen that. I've seen a couple of people that took the area from there, and they need some papers on my side, so they can send it with the 80-hour class to Virginia or whatever. I've seen that. I've never seen somebody from North Carolina though.
And I'm working with one of my coaching classes in North Carolina. So it's a lady. I got her, like the people who approved it. Like I had called down there and been really dealing with them because I'm helping them get his stuff together. And they said they're big on those synchronized.
That's the home care now. He's talking about.
No. I'm talking about assisted living.
Oh.
Yeah. He has the synchronized. They're big on the synchronized smoke detectors / they big on that in North Carolina. Because I said, what are the two, like some things I need to really look out for the survey? He was like that, ramps, because they're like mobility is like a big deal. Like they need to know if they're going to be, if there's mobility or not. That's the big difference in the level of care. So, and then I've actually talked to the architect. You know how they there's an office with their licensing process that you have to talk to the architect. And he gave me the whole list for North Carolina. It's pretty long, but it's not complicated at all. You think it is because it's just like overwhelming and it's new information, but once you've seen it over and over again, it's not as crazy as it sounds.
I know that in healthcare, clients can be modest as it relates to giving care to opposite sex clients.
Mm-hmm.
So is it in the assisted living community? Is that an issue?
No, really.
I haven't ran into it.
I have run into it, but many people don't care. I have a guy in one of my facilities who's like, I don't want a maid to take care of my mom. And I understand because I don't think I want a maid to take care of me either. So I really understand. But there's some families that don't care.
Yeah.
When you're in the hospital, female maid take care of you, so you don't know who's going to take care of you when you're in that, even in a nursing home.
But preferably, yeah. Some families do have preferences, and I mean in home care, like because we don't have a lot of assisted living residents, we haven't ran across it yet. But in home care, we see it. People do have preferences, but it's not usually a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Just we don't want no man. You know what I mean? We just find them a girl. A woman. So it's never like a big thing. So. And if that is the case, you just have to get a male, or you have to get that gender, and it wouldn't be hard to find.
So in order to simplify that, do you have houses that are all male in a house that is all female?
Oh no,
No.
Is that even allowed?
I don't know. Did I go as far as discrimination? Yeah.
But
I don't think it's not allowed.
Two of my home right now, it just happened. I didn't plan it. They're all female. I think maybe because female.
They live longer anyway.
But I didn't plan it that way. But it's all female. It's like two of them.
That's a good question.
But now when I think about it, I think I prefer taking care of men.
Yes.
Those female can. Every time I walk in there, but the male, when you walk to the male, how you doing today? Oh my God, everything is fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, they never have a problem. But that could be, but they might don't say nothing though. It might be an issue, and then they're not being honest about it. You know what I mean? Because men just feel like they're gonna tough it out.
Can I get more male, please?
So.
Yeah.
What about religion?
What about religion?
That's a great question.
What about religion?
So like if one is Buddhist, one is Christian, the next one is Muslim.
Absolutely. So yeah, you have to what we try to work out with the families is, okay, do you guys, it's definitely an issue, something we're concerned about. Do you guys have somebody who will come, or do you guys expect us to take them to church or whatever religious institution that they deal with? You just work it out with the family. They say, oh, we'll come get them for the church, or we expect them to, can you guys arrange transportation and care during that time? And because, that's extra, it could be extra, but a lot of times you can, they might have somebody that, like if they've been into this church for many, many years, they probably wouldn't mind sending somebody to, do some service with them individually in their room. And you can have, if service in the house, that, people can come out into the living room, they're doing church service today,
But have you experienced anybody getting offended? Like by playing worship music?
Oh, no. No, I haven't. But these are all good things. These are like little nuanced things that can happen. And then, you just have to be, you just have to be able to figure it out. That's just part of, running any business. You have to be able to adjust and, make it work for everybody. So.
It's the same thing if they was in a facility. You got people of all different faiths.
The same way anywhere in the world. So you can't I don't want to hear nothing but TD Jakes, you know what I mean? So it just don't work like that, So if there's no more questions at this point, I'm gonna kind of go over some of the basic general steps to getting started. The getting started, it's just the second page. Yep. Okay. I'm going to where it says plan your business, and we have an actual business plan in the printouts in the download that we sent you guys. And so if you don't have it now with you, you can go download it, or you can shoot me an email if you didn't get it, and I'll send it to you again.
You sent it?
Yeah, I sent it out to you, the email. It's all right. So basically, step one is just the one guy, he was asking about, break even and numbers, and these are some of the things you definitely want to ask in the beginning that are very important. The initial cost, you want to, the market that you're going to be targeting, the area, the neighborhood, the county, the community, and again, how long it's going to take for you to start breaking even and start making some profit. So you definitely want to have a plan, like a general plan, but then also eventually a business plan. And Maryland actually requires you to have a business plan. So, and we gave you a sample of the one that Maryland approved. So you got that just from coming here. Two is just forming your legal entity. We kind of touched on that. I started out as an LLC, then we went into an S Corp because we started making more money, and it was what the accountant told us to do. I didn't question it. We had to start when you're LLC, when you knew that you're not really. I mean, you should like it, but if you never ran a business before, you start making money. You're not really managing it great. You're not budget. You may not be like allocating the budget the proper way and keeping receipts and managing it. Because I mean, once it kind of gets out of whack, and you're not really like the way you paying yourself isn't really clear. You're just taking whatever's left. You know what I mean? That's what I used to do. Like, okay, we pay the caregivers everything, but the rest ours. And then that's not really how you want to do it. That's not the greatest way as far as the taxes. Because we got hammered. You know what I mean? Tax wise. When the first year we did a quarter, like they was like, you owe like $40,000 in taxes. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Even when you reported, you paying the staff and all that.
I mean, once we did we made money, but it was like I wasn't preparing myself. I was new, I didn't know. Nobody was telling me like, okay, when you start doing this, I just thought we finally did it. We successful now. You know what I mean? But then it's like okay, you got to pay the government. I understood that, so we went and did our taxes, but I didn't expect that. I'm used to getting a refund. You know what I mean? I wasn't used to sending checks. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean? So, go ahead.
I think it is because LLC is treated as a pass-through single proprietor, and then if you switch to S corporation, you pay 15% taxes. So if you are making money and you go into a higher bracket as a single proprietor, suddenly your tax rate might be 30%.
Yeah. So that's probably what happened.
You keep more.
Yeah. And then she put us on like salary.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't just like we can just go in the bank account and do what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now we gotta, it has to be documented that this is the amount of money we making every, week. So we getting paychecks just like everybody else. So, and it didn't start like that,
Now, would that, your taxes be something that the accountant would be taking care of from the beginning?
I would suggest that. Yeah, I would suggest starting out with an accountant opposed to, getting it all crazy and then trying to go fix it later. Because it's going to, because once you start doing business and money starts coming in, you're going to start spending it. And then it's like different things have different the categories that they should be in. So when you're doing different things, the accountant can make sure. The accountant's job is to get you not to pay as little tax as possible and not get in trouble. So so to avoid that in the long run, start out doing it right. You just create a good habit in the beginning, with like QuickBooks and stuff like that early. It's like we had to go back and then, get into QuickBooks, and that's like hard when you got, 2-3 years of finances that you have to try to plug in and try to figure out. So you do it right the first time, and then it's smooth all the way through.
How do you keep your accountant honest?
How do you keep your accountant honest? I mean, you got to know what you're looking at. You know what I mean? I mean, if I see I know how much money coming in at all times. So it's not like I'm just willy-nilly out here in the world and he just giving me a check. No, I know I get the money. He gets paid to do my taxes. So he doesn't manage. I'm not like Michael Jackson where somebody else manages my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking care of my own money, but he just helps me taxes with, legal entities and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And an accountant, I'm going to tell you, an accountant can be very, very important when it comes to business growth and networking and partnerships, because they're dealing with other businesses and they know who got money. You know what I mean? They can't be just like, oh yeah, get at him. But they can, you can be like, hey, look, I'm working on this next project. I'm looking for some financing for a business they're like, oh, such and such does that. Yeah, that's networking. So your accountant is a very, very, very valuable asset. And I'm going to tell you, one person, this meeting her, changed my whole finance. You'll be surprised how much one person could change your whole financial situation. So, and a good accountant and a good lawyer could provide you with a great network. And then going to the meetups and stuff where they're just basic business meetings. You can meet a lot of great people and get a lot of great insight. So that's how I met my accountant. I have two accountants. I have one that I was dealing with real estate, but she's great overall. And then I have another accountant who I met at a SBA event, like a small business administration event. She was like the mentor for the SBA office in Annapolis, and she was used to working with people with small businesses just getting started. So I didn't feel bad about coming to her with my little small business, with my little bit of money in the beginning, and you know, because when you think an account, you feel some kind of way, like, yeah, I only made $15,000. I don't want to show nobody that. You know what I mean? But having a great accountant is very important. And then that gets into registering for your tax ID and stuff like that. Opening up a business account. This is just some of the basics. Setting up business accounting, QuickBooks, I would suggest. And then obtaining the necessary permits and license, just like we were discussing earlier. And then, insurance. I would suggest a solutions group.
You have a home care business too, you said?
Yeah, we started in home care.
So, when you started in assisted living, did you start is it a separate legal entity and separate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's ran as each house, I look at it as a business in itself.
Each house?
Yeah, each house.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's separate from your home care business?
Yeah.
A question.
Go ahead.
If somebody just getting started, and so they don't really have the funds to rent a facility or buy a facility. And so if you're starting out in home care, would it be a good idea to let that business take off to fund your assistant, even though you're saying...
That's how I did it.
That's what I'm trying to do, but I don't...
Yeah. All you need is a home office in most states to run a home care service. So, yeah. And then what happened with us, like I said, I was getting the leads for this. So it's like, man, why don't I just turn this, you know what I mean? Instead of, sending it to somebody else, like, you get a referral fee, but that's only one time. If I would have kept them, I'd get this check every month. So it's a no-brainer. Just get a property. And like I said, live in it. You got to live somewhere. So rent the property that you're going to turn the assisted living to, or buy the property that you're going to just fits that criteria. That was my thinking when I bought my first property anyway. My first property, I didn't even think about, buying this house that I just love and enjoy. I was looking for specific things, like, okay, all the rooms on a certain level, the room sizes, because I was thinking about opening assisted living. Once I was able to buy my first property, which is, a big deal when you buying your first home. But I probably missed like the excitement of that experience because I was thinking about it from a business perspective. But now it's it's not a liability, it's an asset. When you living in there, it's a liability. You be like, man, I wish I could find something smaller. Once you get in there, you all excited because you got this new big house, but the thrill be gone when the bills start adding up. So turn your property, starting as a home care is a great idea, but also, if you can't get a property, try to, move into a property.
But you can't do that if you already have a house. Then what happens to that house again?
I mean, if you can't convert it, use that one. Oh, yeah, I feel that. What I mean? It's just entrepreneurship.
Because I'm doing it right now. I live somewhere else, but the house I'm running is somewhere else.
Yeah.
People are living in there. I got people coming in, taking care of them or whatever. That's giving me the seed money to do my assisted living.
Yep. Go ahead, man. Before we get back in.
My question was about, you said you had a bunch of different houses. Are they all named the same? Or are they, because I got that you said make it separate entities. So are they all Alan Cheney?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like the brand.
Over here and Alan Cheney
I didn't do it like that. I don't have that many houses. She has more houses. But, oh, absolutely. But, no, not these two. Two different ones. And I liked it. So when I was thinking about this one, I kind of wanted to think of a name that fit the area. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like it's on the Severn River. So we named it Comfort on the Severn. So I can't name one that's in, a whole another area, Comfort on the Severn too. If it ain't nowhere near the Severn. So.
How did you name yours?
On
Unfortunately, yes, but the last two we did
Different
last
name.
two different name, but still the same name, but different name from the other one.
Can you give me an example, like two of your names?
My name is Angelina, so my assistant name is called Angel. Then the other one is agent, like agent solution.
Aging solutions, yeah.
Oh, aging. Okay.
So I know the assisted living community is pretty small. How do you know, let's say you get a referral for a client that is a problem client who goes from house to house. How do you avoid from, I mean, how do you know?
I'm going to tell you this. She could probably answer it better than me, but you should be able to figure that out on your own. Because you're going to do an assessment before they even come in there. They just not, calling you and then they moving right in. You're going to send a nurse to their place, see how they're living. And then you're going to decide, like, is this somebody, based on your nurse's assessment, your assessment, and whoever else is in charge's assessment, is that something you're going to want to deal with? I don't know how further you can go into their history.
But because most of the time, you might not know that they have been to several assistant living.
Yeah.
You probably would not know. And another thing, because it didn't work out in that assistant living, it might work out in your assistant living. You never.
Yeah, just because. Yeah.
Nah, if it's because they're not paying, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But if it feels like, oh, I'm not happy with the kid, and there are some people, I don't care what you do, they're still not going to be happy. That's another story. Sure. So it all depends.
I had just a quick little tip, something I do. Anything that I'm interested in, I get Google alerts for. So I got Google alerts for assisted living. It just comes every time there's an article or blog post or news thing. I get like these Google emails with just all about assisted living. So I would suggest everybody do that. Just so you can, it just kind of gives you like a, I call it industry IQ. Like you just learn more and more about the business itself. Google alerts and just put like different terms. So I got home care and then assisted living. Then I got like dementia, stuff like that. So I kind of keep abreast on all these things. So, but while I'm mentioning that, I got a email yesterday about a resident killed another resident.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God. Yeah, because you usually share it.
Yeah, I shared it on my page. Yeah, that's right. Wait, I saw it. I was like, what are we going to do about this? Yeah. So, because the assisted living said we're not security guards. You know what I'm saying? So, running background checks on your residents. Now that I'm thinking that after that, I'm like, oh my God, I got to run background checks. This old man might be a murderer. You know what I mean? Or have that tendency.
But that lawyer said, even if they don't have that responsibility as the assisted living, in that article you had, because they don't have to run, that's not their responsibility to run that. Even if they found out that he had a history of doing this stuff.
Yeah, of violence, they're not liable. Right. But do you, as you're a business owner, at this point, with that information, I can't not do it at this point. I can't ignore that. I mean, certain people, you see this old frail lady, she's not going to do nothing. But you get this guy, he might be a Vietnam vet. He might be more dangerous than, anybody. And then, he started going into different states. Like, this is the stuff that happened, that makes me, that article made me think about. So I just have to, and that's what I say, you raise your industry IQ by constantly learning about what's going on in the assisted living community.
But the other thing that article,
and I was trying to just make that point for you because you were saying, well, if they're a troubled resident, that's definitely an issue. So consider backgrounds as well.
But what I was going to say about that article, what made me think too is you got to know what's going on in the house because it said it started because one borrowed money from the other one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they probably got gambling. Probably a whole little, mafia situation going on. You never know. So you definitely, yeah. So obviously that wasn't a small little resident. That was a facility, and they probably got all kinds of stuff going on in there. And that's the thing. And this is the stuff you could use. I'm using this in my casual conversation with the families. Hey, did you see the article at those big facilities? Not to scare you, but you got to be careful because they don't have the same amount of client per staff ratio. You know, if you got one caregiver for 8 residents versus one resident, no, two for 4, you know what I mean? It's a big difference. You know, if it is a problem, it's not going. Hopefully, the caregivers see it before it gets to murder. You know what I mean? So, you know, you kind of, you know, I let families know like these kind of things happen in these big facilities. I'm not making it up. You know, so I would rather put my family member in a small facility. Like my thinking for me, my personal retirement, I want to move into my own facility. You know what I mean? So I can be comfortable. I'm going to be the boss, old man, still telling y'all what to do. The way I want to do it. Because this is my retirement plan, so I don't, you know, put myself on my kids. Absolutely. And that's what we try to get in those rooms with the 2 beds. Yeah.
And my experience working at nursing homes, it is good because most of the residents would like a home like
a home environment.
They would love better to be in a smaller. So,
going into the next thing was so we had covered almost. I mean, I can control that, but somebody can. You want to go tell them there's cold in here? Because I'm gonna cover these 2 points, and then we're gonna take a break. Okay. So we're gonna talk about defining your brand. Going back to her question about separate entities or company names, or do you want like this broader brand, you know, and all your houses be named the same? That's up to you. That's like a personal preference. It might work out better for you if you do have, it's like if you can manage 5 properties and they're all, you know, whatever your company name. Obviously, that's a better branding thing because you could do like a bigger marketing campaign for all of them, opposed to a different campaign for each facility. Because my properties I'm trying to get, you know, 5, 8 or less. I don't need those big campaigns to fill my beds. You know what I mean? Because I already have a referral network that all I have to do is say, okay, we have a bed available. And there are referral companies like Care Patrol, placement services. Care Patrol, A Place for Mom. These places, they send you clients, especially if you're in a great community. You know, like anything else, if it's a good place, if it's a good area, you're going to get more. It's going to be in higher demand. So I don't look at it. I'm not at a place where I'm looking at like multiple facilities and doing a big branding thing because I have so many places. Like she has, you know, multiple facilities, and like she said, her first few facilities are all the same name, but she had made a little thing to where she looked like I don't think she's excited about that, because again, different things happen, and then you got to remember something about the internet. One bad review. You're done. You're done. Man, somebody put something so crazy on business, the Better Business Bureau for my company. Like, I was floored at what she said. And, like, I called my lawyer. I said, this has to come off of here. You know? I called her. It was some home care stuff. And she said all of this theft was going on. They were stealing her medicine, her mom's medicine. For some reason, because we didn't fill a shift at some point. She just had this vent just to get back at us. And it was this, again, this just happens in business. You're going to run into it. Everybody isn't nice. So you got to think about that. So if you do this big old branding campaign and you got 5 houses and then you run into this one person and they just trash that house and all your houses is that name, that could be an issue. Or, you know, whatever. But that's just something to think about. But for me, I kind of like want it to be like a home environment. So not big signage and not big, you know what I mean? I don't want people, I don't even want the community. I want the community to know a little bit so they can, for marketing, but I don't want to make it like a, you know, like a mall where it's like everybody know that's a senior citizen place and all that. It's just, you know, I don't want to commercialize it. I want them to feel at home and comfortable and like quiet, and relax. So, Comfort on the Severn, Arnold Manor, like these are some of the names that we have for the facility, based on where they are, you know. So when you go ahead 1 second. So when it comes to also just when you're defining your brand, there are a lot of things that you can use to stand out. You know, you just have to be creative. Like, what are some of the things that you want to do differently in the marketplace, or, you know, just going to make families say, hey, that does sound like a, you know, a better opportunity for my loved one, or, you know, I feel like they'll probably do better here. Because there's a lot of value add that you can do as a small facility and offer to, because you can say you're offering it in this house, but you only offer it to 4 people. So where big companies, they can't say they're going to offer this. So like we can say free transportation. They can't. Because now they got 100 people they got to get free transportation. We can say free transportation, or we can say catered meals. You know what I mean? Weekly catered meals. You know, so we like to do catered meals on Sundays. You know, whatever the choice is, like the resident gets to choose. Like each week, you get to choose. Like if your favorite is Greek food, we go get catered Greek on that Sunday. We could do that because it's only 4 plates, and seniors don't even eat that much. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take most of it home. You know, if you want it. You know. So I mean, you know, they're not gonna eat it. So, but you can offer these things in a smaller facility. You can't offer this in a big facility. So, these are some of the things you could think about when you know, get into the brand and establishing your presence. Obviously, the internet, running ads. You know, create a great website. Get everywhere on social media. You know, that's just the obvious stuff I would think for everybody at this point. And if it's not, I'll kind of get deeper into it. But just creating a web presence on like LinkedIn. A lot of people don't understand it, the importance of LinkedIn for like business referrals and networking with different referral sources in the community, discharge planners and stuff like that. You can find them on LinkedIn, and you want to communicate as a business as opposed to as an individual. Facebook, obviously, and then you can run ads and stuff like there. But the majority of your clients is going to come from if you don't have a network already, or the Place for Mom, Care Patrol, stuff like that, those placement companies, and you just have to pay them the referral fee, and then they'll send you more. So if you get one client, so like one of my students, she got 2 clients from them. I wish she would have paid them up front. Now she owes them, and now she got some beds empty. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she like, wow. I said, now you got to pay them so you can you use them again, and then you know, get these other beds full, or you got to do some other things. So definitely make sure when you get those referrals to pay the referral. I didn't even realize that they allowed you to, you know, at that point to get the money, then pay them later. I thought that they had an agreement with the family first, but that's pretty much it when it comes to that. So
you have a website for each one of your houses, or?
You can, yeah. The social media presence and the website, absolutely. Because you gotta brand it. It's a business. So you want brochures, business cards. We even have a newsletter that we can do that goes out. So, you know, even if your beds are full, obviously you don't have to do the same amount of marketing to when you're trying to get a client. I mean, fill a bed, but you want to have something minimal going out forever at all times, because people do pass away or things do happen and beds do fill. And if you're working on a new property, you're still creating this database of people who need this type of service. Go ahead, or families and friends and stuff like that for referrals.
To circle back to the privacy of the facility, versus advertising it, because what about the opiate epidemic? Are there people who target assisted living to try to get their medicine?
For like theft?
Yeah, theft.
Like break-ins for pills?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it's probably burglary is burglary. Yeah. So if you're gonna get burglarized, you can't really do nothing about it. I mean, I don't feel like if you're in assisted living, you're gonna get targeted more. Maybe.
Oh, okay, so if you haven't experienced that, then.
Yeah, I haven't experienced it. Yeah, it's not a thing.
I've never heard of that. I know a lot of friends that have assisted living.
Such and such.
Assisted living, yeah.
Like, come and get the meds.
Yeah, we got opioid, yeah.
But you can't put a sign, right? It's not commercial.
You could put a sign. You can put signs different, but it all depends on the zoning. But it's usually just the size of the sign. The size of the sign. You can't, like when I was doing real estate, we put this huge. It was like the size of that whole wall, because we bought a building, and we thought this is our building. We're gonna drop this big old sign on the side of it. Oh no! It was like we buy houses in the middle of the downtown in Ohio. They was like, oh man, that got to come down. You know what I mean? We was avoiding the void because we getting a lot of calls. But eventually, you'll get fined. So it's about this. But it was the side. They were like, you could do it, but the sign, it just was too big in the zoning. So you can have a sign at your house. It just has to be fit the size. And it has to be, you know.
In many counties, you can have a sign.
I see the signs in Anne Arundel County all the time.
I have a quick question about getting clients. Do you accept clients from all levels? Meaning that it could be low-level care that they need, because in my experience, I get a lot of calls from nursing homes because they have someone who is still nursing home qualified, but they don't need to be in a nursing home. And they realize that I have a house that these people can live in because I have care that they can, so they can
care for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you accept people like that as well?
Level 3.
Level 3.
So if you license for level 3, you can take level 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. So you don't want to just get licensed for level 1 because as soon as they decline.
I want to just be licensed, but I'm saying.
Do you take them? Absolutely.
Yeah. Source of getting clients.
Yeah. We can take all levels. Yeah, all levels of care up until hospice.
I try not to deal with elderly. I prefer dealing with the elderly population.
Yeah, that's
right. The younger ones.
That's right. That's what I mean.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that was what she was saying.
Some
Okay.
of them can be level 1, but they're still in a nursing home. They're just too high functioning to live there. It's like a gap that they're trying to fill.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's the trend now.
So you take from 55 to what? To death?
Yep.
Look, if I see
You don't want them. You don't want to get them at the last minute. You probably don't want to deal with it. Like you could do hospice care, but who wants to do all that if they're not going to make it? You don't want to get somebody at the last leg. And most of the time, people are not trying to move at that point. Yeah.
No, if I see somebody that is 40, and they're wheelchair bound, I probably take it. But 40 walking around, jumping,
no.
You know, I'm not.
It's gonna care.
Yeah. It's gonna. Yeah. So it depends what is going on with them. So it really depends what is going on with them.
So, in North Carolina, I do hair. I'm a cosmetologist, and I go to the assisted living homes and do hair in the house. So what I see is a lot of, most of the residents that I see, they've been there like 10 years. Wow. So, and then, you know, they're paying well over what you, still $5,000. But,
I'm at the
like
low end.
I see a lot of
Oh, no, I'm just saying I'm at the low end. There's people in Annapolis, this bed's $10,000 a bed.
I'm in a house where I go to. The house is they pay $1.3 million to get this house built. Residents pay $95 a month.
9,500.
Yeah. When I say top of the level, is we had a little hurricane come through there, and the lights didn't even flicker, but they put a $10,000 generator in the ground. They was like, we not playing with this.
We got a generator too.
That level. So, but what I noticed is, like it's all age, and I'm like you. If the person is it's okay to determine your house on level of care.
Yeah.
Okay. That was my question.
That's right.
Yeah, it's your decision. Yeah, whatever you want to tolerate, deal with it.
I'm like you are, because I have a lot of people that are cancer. A lot of my friends are dealing with cancer, and they don't. When they come home, they need somewhere clean environment to live, and that's what I want to do. I want to create a house just for that. So all my, male, whatever, they have cancer. You need somewhere to stay. Stay right here. That's what I want to do. Level of care and age. Okay, awesome.
So we're going to take a break here for a little bit, about 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and we're going to jump into a couple more things on here, and then we're going to look at the application for Maryland, the application, and then the application instructions. And then that'll help you guys understand some of the things for the different counties, and then we have a business plan and then the universal disclosure form. It's a lot here. I'm gonna just kind of give a basic overview of what it is, and then after that we're gonna go do the facility tour. Whoever's interested in going, We're going to tour one of her facilities, and then we're going to wrap up. All right?
What time is the facility for?
Probably like, we're going to come back in a half hour from now, so probably another hour after that.
Okay.
It's in Atlanta. So it's about 25 minutes from here, give or take.
What time do you guys expect to be done with the facility?
Oh, that's quick. It's just a walkthrough, and if you guys have any questions, yeah. So you could just, So the address, what's the address? Well, we can give it to you now, but, huh?
How we getting there?
Oh, you just got to drive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big.
You can walk.
Yeah.
So are you expecting to be at the facility at what, 2 p.m., 1:30?
So I don't really have a time frame because I don't know how long it's gonna take for me to cover this material with questions and stuff. But once we finish up this material, I should have a better question for you. I mean, a better answer for that question. As far as time, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I'll keep that in consideration. So yeah, we'll break for now. I'll see you guys in 30 minutes.